We are back today with another how-to video, and in today's video we're going to be making pizza dough to be exact. So what we've got here to start with is 900 grams of flour, 300 ml of water, some yeast which is readily available, olive oil, sugar and salt, and then we've just got a couple of bits and pieces obviously just to help us cook and make the dough. So first of all, what we're going to do is, with the 300 ml of water, is add to that 2 tablespoons of sugar. The sugar, of course, is what's needed for the yeast. So that's 2 of those that have gone in there. Really useful tool to have here is, of course, a chopstick. The water is warm to the touch, which again will help the yeast. So the 300 ml I've made up of about 200 ml of hot water and then 100 ml of cold water. So we're just using packet yeast. One of these is going to be fine. And that just goes in there. I'm going to stir that in. So this is a recipe that we've seen made quite a few times on the internet. We've sort of tweaked it for ourselves, and this is one that works quite well. And as you're mixing the yeast in, you can smell that there. And to this yeast water we're going to add some olive oil, so that's 60 ml of olive oil that's going to go in the top of this. Don't have to be exact because we're going to add more oil, more water as we go along. So whilst that's going to be left there, we're going to put the salt into the flour. So what we're going to use this time is actually sea salt. And what we want is just 2 teaspoons of that into the flour. So this is something which you can't really rush. I'm just going to stir that in. So we've got basic ingredients all ready now. That is the flour with the salt, yeast, water, sugar and the oil. So we need to leave this now for about half an hour, and you can probably see there's already some bubbles forming on the top of the oil here, and what we're hoping is we'll have a nice creamy head to that, and that will be when the yeast is ready to go. So it has now been the 30 minutes, and as we can see we've got quite an impressive head here on our yeast, so we're going to add that in to the flour and get our dough started. So to make the dough we're going to be using this mixer here. There are various ways to do the mixing, so we're going to start by pouring the liquid into our bowl, which is obviously a mix now of the yeast and oil that's already there, and then to that we're going to add the 900 grams of flour. I'm not going to add it all in one go, so I'm going to put roughly about half of that in first, and then we're going to get this mixing. So this is the first batch of flour in, and we're going to start this off on a low setting just to get it going. So the other way that we do often see is, of course, the flour in first and then add the liquid in. We're trying a slightly different way, and as it starts to mix we can actually then turn the speed up, and as it is quite a warm day we might find that we do need to actually add a little bit more of the water in as well. just going to take some of the flour off of the side there just to get it in. And then we're going to add in some more of the flour mixture. A few more moments to mix there, and we're just going to add in now the rest of the flour. And then we're going to just mix this some more. So when I first made pizzas, we used to make quite a lot of mess, but we've done this quite a few times now, so we're able to do this now without too much mess. And this is a really easy and simple way to make the dough for a pizza. So I'm just going to keep an eye on this. If it does look as if it is a little dry, then I may possibly add a bit more of the water and just get the last little bits of yeast that are left in the cup into here as well. A tiny little drop of water into here, and you can see that the dough is forming quite nicely now. Just going to increase the rate in a little bit. Is basically a solid ball of dough which has been nicely mixed together. So we're going to leave this going for maybe another minute and let's see where we are. So we've got a little bit of extra time, and we can see now that the dough is all but ready there. So just whilst that's finishing off, we've got our first bowl, and we're just going to lightly spray that out with some oil. And as we can see, the dough has got a nice consistency, and that's just going to go into our first bowl. And as you can see, it's quite sticky and solid piece of dough, and we're going to just spray this over again with oil and leave this for some time just to let it rest. It's probably going to be a good couple of hours before we come back to it. So we've completely sprayed the dough over with olive oil, and we've just covered the container that it's in with some cellophane, and we're going to leave this now for some time, maybe about an hour or two, and then we'll come back to it and just see what the dough has done. So we are expecting it to obviously increase in size, and it should be lighter and a lot more puffier. So as you can see, it's been about 2 hours, and you can see that the dough has more than doubled up in size there. And it's really full of air. And because we put the oil down first, you can see it's all come out nice and easy there. Got really nice feel and consistency. So this is the dough that we're going to just make into smaller balls, which will be then ready for when we make the pizza. So with the amount of dough that we've made, we can basically cut it into fours. And what we have here is a tray with some cellophane already on there, And what I've done is just sprayed it over with a little bit of oil first. And we're going to make these just into balls. Don't want to squash it too much because obviously we want some of the air to stay in there for when the pizzas are made as well. And once I've put those onto there, I'm just going to give them a light spray over again with some oil, which will just keep it moist, stop it from drying out. And what I'm going to do now is just cover that with cellophane again, and then we're going to leave it to rest for a bit longer, and then we should be ready to use the dough.
Calm down.